It's a quick video I want to do on the Freelander 1 TD4 inlet flow. This is a facelift model. If you're pre-facelift, you will see a couple of differences. One being this air intake temperature sensor may not exist, and also you may not, although this isn't part of the inlet system, you may not have this vacuum chamber, because you might see this on this video and wonder what it is. Right, so your inlet is inside the inner wheel arch. Comes up through this pipe, flows along through here, down here, and into the air filter box. Underneath the air filter box is an elbow around the back of the engine, which then feeds into the turbo, then comes out of the turbo and runs along this big pipe underneath here, not the two little ones on top, the big one underneath. So it runs along there and then comes into this intercooler hose. So hard pipe into soft pipe, intercooler hose into the intercooler, and then this hose here is out of the intercooler, flows along here, this part of the inlet, along here, round there, round this 90-degree bend into the EGR valve, which mine hasn't got, and then it goes into the intake manifold, and that's straightforward. So like I say, that's the 90-degree EGR, common for splitting around here. Mine's done it. They blow, they don't suck, so putting tape on doesn't really help because it just blows the tape off. As they got intercooler hose in, intercooler hose out. Now this, out of interest, this hose after a long run will be quite warm. If your intercooler is working well, this hose should be a lot cooler because the intercooler is cooling the air, ready for it to go into the intake. The denser the air, the cooler the air, the denser the air, the denser the air, the better the burn. That's why intercoolers are there. I've upgraded mine to an Alley Sport intercooler, which is a big alloy one, which goes right down there, whereas the standard one's only about this height. The Alloy Sport one goes right down, triple height in fact. And this hose is almost cold, even after a long run. Couple of sensors on the inlet manifold, which you can't really see from here, but underneath here there's a manifold absolute pressure or MAP sensor that is used to control the turbo boost. Down beside the turbo you've got a solenoid. I've moved mine because it fell off, so I've just moved it up here, repiped it. That controls the wastegate, which therefore controls the boost. This sensor underneath here is the cam position sensor. Very commonly fail. Ever so easy to change. Just undo the 8mm bolts that holds this plastic cover on, unplug it. If I remember correctly, it's just a small torque screw. Just pop it out, pop the new one in. It takes 5 minutes. I would always recommend carrying a spare one of those. We'll make this an engine bay tour, why not? So you've got a vacuum pump sitting on the end of the cam under here, and as the name suggests, creates vacuum. This does three things. Creates the vacuum that goes to the turbo boost actuator. So this red pipe goes into the vacuum chamber. The purpose of the vacuum chamber is to give a quicker vacuum response, so it hasn't got to create it all the time. It holds a vacuum. Now if you haven't changed your pipes, you're probably still on the black ones with a braided cloth on the outside. I recommend you change those because they get soft and collapse, and then you don't get the vacuum, and then you don't get your turbo boost. I've recently fitted those and it's transformed the engine. Pulls so well now. So that then runs across behind the injectors, comes out onto the vacuum pump. You've then got another pipe which goes down to the turbo actuator, and another one which just goes along to the turbo breather. Often get posts on Facebook going, oh, there's a breather hanging out with no pipe. What is it? It's your turbo actuator solenoid breather. So the second thing the vacuum pump does is feeds the EGR valve. Now normally you'd have a pipe there which runs along to an area on the front of the EGR valve with a pipe, and that vacuum opens and closes a valve which allows exhaust gases to recirculate, as the name suggests. Exhaust gas recirculation valve, EGR. But it clogs up the system. The inlet manifold, the inlet manifold is just full of gunky soot and block, and they block up and really cause performance. So it's very common to take the EGR off. And then the third one, which is in this harder black pipe, which will become obvious why, is your brake servo. So that runs out the back of there, along there, and into the brake servo behind there. That's absolutely critical. And I have read that when people have upgraded these pipes, the brakes are better, but the pipes on this one are fine. I did actually move my car the other day without the engine running down a slope, and I thought I had total brake failure. So make sure you run your engine when you want to use your brakes, but also make sure these pipes are in very good order. That's it. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. Hope you found this useful. Thank you.